You know this ends at 5.3. Why are you even trying?
You failed, buddy. Give it up and accept it instead of just dragging it on.
Watch this. He struggles on the easiest
It's
thing.
over.
So
We'll
no.
never get through.
So that's
Why
it.
don't you just
All
leave
fish
us
builders
already?
and that was your big plan?
If you had the strength to take another step, could you do it?
This is the solo Final Fantasy XIV challenge. A run where I can't use the market board, parties, or NPC support, and need to complete the main scenario quest of Final Fantasy XIV entirely on my own. After 3 years and over 1,000 hours, we hit our second massive wall, the end. Nothing to be done about it. Hades had beaten us, but I knew this was coming. I knew a wall would come soon that we wouldn't be able to go past. Something insurmountable. I just hadn't expected it to happen when it did. In my lowest moment, where all of the lights had gone out, Solo Savior stood to push us over the edge and to our clear. But Savior didn't come from nothing. He struggled and forced his way through the solo challenge in an entirely new path. The solo of the first stands before us, and the 200-hour journey to save Solo only begins. If I'm using this footage, something has gone terribly wrong. From here, I have to do the entire journey over again, from the very beginning up to Shadowbringers, just in case. Maybe I never use this, or maybe he really will be Solo's savior. I see this first animation a lot with the different characters that I make, but this one feels different. This new character of mine carries with him all of my hopes, all of my fears, and the weight of our success. We've got a 500-hour journey ahead of us, little buddy. Nothing we can do but start. From the very start, things are different. We arrive in Ul'dah rather than Limsa, and actually watch the starting cutscene to get a ring that boosts our crafting power by 1. I took the time to watch through this cutscene because I think if we give him this answer of amassing a fortune, he should give us a different ring. Aha! We did get the right ring. Normally this is a combat ring if you skip it, but if you make that specific selection, it's a crafting ring instead. From here, we can take the perfect solo route. In the original solo video, I needed to get a helmet for the main scenario quest, but since I started in Limsa, I had no way of making one myself without buying materials from an NPC. Ul'dah, on the other hand, allows us to unlock both Miner and Goldsmith. Leveling Miner to 15 gets us access to raw malachite in Eastern Thanalan, and Goldsmith to 14 allows us to craft a malachite brass circlet, which far surpasses the requirement for the quest. Now, we have a level 18 helmet, which will pass the test, but I can't wear it. Though that means we need to use the hunting log to get Gladiator to level 18 so we can complete the level 8 MSQ. Or, theoretically, it would, but this is A Realm Reborn. A holdover from the old days of 2.0, a lot of the original gear in A Realm Reborn is available to all classes. You just had to actually know what stats mattered for you, and it really does mean all classes. This, alongside the fact that crafters and gatherers can progress the A Realm Reborn main scenario quest, means that my goldsmith is level 18, the circlet is on. That's a great quest, baby! Okay! And we've made it past every solo's first hurdle. And I can swap back over to Gladiator to do the rest. I almost forgot the first official / playtime. 2 hours and 25 minutes to complete the level 8 MSQ. Our next roadblock is Sestasha. From all the questing, my Gladiator was level 22, but I had absolutely no combat gear for it to use and no potions. This is the only spot in the entire journey where both solos overlap. Unlocking every crafter and gatherer, the intricate puzzle we needed to follow to get the first sledgehammer and scythe, gearing our crafters to the bare minimum, and after 2 whole days, finally making the weapon, armor, and potions I needed. Now we're once again treading new ground. When I first began the solo challenge, I slowly pieced together the rules until I felt like it was a real and difficult journey. The first 3 dungeons were done with regular unsync, but now, for the first time, we'd be level syncing them properly. Sestasha took a full 180, turning into a vicious beast ready to rip me apart at a moment's notice. After failing once and re-entering later with more potions, we reached the final boss, Den. His hits were strong, and his adds a real threat. but in our worst moments, we could outrun him and wait for potions to become available again. 32 minutes and 14 seconds for the first dungeon in the game. The rest, thankfully, were nowhere near as difficult. Temtara's only real pain point is the final boss, though if you run away from it for long enough, it runs out of mana and can't attack you anymore until it gets a melee hit off and steals some. The second dungeon is complete in 34 minutes. Copperbell, blessed by the rework gods, is as easy as can be. Next is our first major test, Ifrit. Or it would have been, but I had other plans in mind. From here, we uproot the entire path I took the first time. Warrior is a strong tank for soloing, but in A Realm Reborn, it's only second best. The true best job for this part of the challenge is Gunbreaker. With healing every 2 attacks instead of 3, and additional shielding when we're unsynced, there was nothing better. But to unlock them, you need to be level 60. So this is the end of our MSQ, and the beginning of a long, long grind through Palace of the Dead. Oh, and I completely forgot. We finished that up in 11 hours and 37 minutes. For future planning, I chose to run through this as Marauder rather than Gladiator. Once I got to level 30, we'd unlock Warrior, one of the strongest classes for Palace of the Dead. But I forgot one tiny detail. We can't actually upgrade our class into a job until after Ifrit. Specifically, the level 21 main scenario quest, Self-Management. I'm gonna have to get to level 50 as just a Marauder. I completely forgot, but at the very least, that is all the questing I will have to do for quite a long time. Now it's just back to Palace. Marauder to level 50 may sound like a change of plans, but this was always the intent. You'll see why in a bit. First, you get to see the absolute euphoria of Patch Day. Gamers, it is a huge day. It is an absolutely huge day. Patch 7.31 has released, and I need to see this myself. You cannot possibly understand what this has just done for me, both in good things and in bad things. There's the big one. That just dropped me a sustaining potion. Instead of dropping the regular potions, the monsters in Palace of the Dead will now drop sustaining potions, which is great if I want to do more Palace of the Dead, but it does also mean that I can't get normal potions anymore. My biggest problem is max potions. I cannot craft max potions until the end of Heavensward. So as of right now, I have no way to get max potions anymore. They're gone. They're off the list completely. They are no longer an option. But on the other hand, Aetherpool upgrades are now a much higher chance from silvers and provide a minimum of +5. It went from a minimum of +1 to +5, and I mean that minimum. Now, there's some important notes here that I learned while me and the other solos were spamming Palace to figure everything out. You can still get the normal potions and max potions, they just only come from bronze chests now instead of mob drops, so my old potion farming guide is now moot. Also, there's a hard cap on the Aether Pool you can gain depending on what floor you're on, but it's so far above the floor requirement that it will basically never matter. Either way, we'd be struggling for health in the real fights, but we were given the gift of an easier time grinding Palace, and I think that's pretty worth it personally. Absolutely beautiful. Marauder, not Warrior. Marauder is level 50. I've got to head back to Ul'dah. That's where we've got to go real quick because we have done it. Our first level 50 class, which means we get to unlock Samurai. And Samurai is what I'm planning to use. For the last stretch, level 50 to 60, we'd be using Samurai. At some point in the future, I'll need to get Samurai to level 100 for one of the most difficult parts of the solo challenge, Susano. As of right now, it's one of very few classes that can do it consistently within the solo rule set. So why not start now? Then we can use Samurai for all our MSQ moving forward and shave off more and more experience I'd have to grind anyway. Plus, this also gives me a chance to get used to the class I would need to know so intimately. And this is where the biggest deviation from solo comes. One of the most asked questions on my rules is why I don't allow vendor or quest gear. So this is the perfect time to show you. Savior will use the class unlock quest gear. but nothing more. The first set of equipment I get for unlocking Samurai is usable, a full set of high-quality level 50 gear. This one won't make much of a difference, but once we get further in, you'll be properly shown why I refuse to use it unless absolutely necessary on solo. A brief pause, but we're dragged back to Palace for another dozen or so hours until Gunbreaker is unlocked. I'm glad that I'm able to get on record just how terrible my Palace luck is. Okay, so last night I did my last proper runs of Palace, or at least what should be my last proper runs of Palace. So today is just going to be challenge logs and the Samurai quests, and we should hit 60, I hope. Okay, and now theoretically, this should be level 60. Oh man, finally. Yes, I would love to become a Gunbreaker. Oh, and also, I can finally use this Kino weapon of mine. There's the Gunbreaker set. There is my level 60 Gunbreaker. And now, I can level sync Ifrit. The only tank that has a heal built into their combo at this level. The boss can't even touch me. Now, with Brutal Shell's healing, Ifrit is not only incredibly easy, but it's so easy that we don't need any food or potions to get our clear. It has been a pleasure seeing you again, Ifrit. The Bowl of Embers is cleared with absolutely no difficulties. And now, it doesn't stop here. Gunbreaker will get us through the rest of A Realm Reborn without any stops along the way. And this is a final playtime of 45 hours. 45 hours to unlock Gunbreaker and defeat Ifrit. I have an expansion to go clear. Titan, this time, rather than with Ninja Doton, will be using the other method I considered when we originally got here. Samurai's Burst is just enough to kill the heart before it jails us in the first place. A couple of tries later, we've cleared the only remaining difficulty in A Realm Reborn, and head on towards Heavensward. Once again, A Realm Reborn is finished. Now, when we talk about A Realm Reborn, everyone thinks of a single thing: the Crystal Tower Alliance raids. And I was asked plenty of times, how did I do it? How did I clear this time? Did I get the other solos together again? I want us to just think about this for a moment. Let me just check. The solos haven't done a Crystal Tower raid on their own in quite a while, actually. So if I, Mr. Wrath Games, go in there and tell everyone, hey, haha, we should do another Crystal Tower raid. I wouldn't be there, but you should. Do you think that might be a little suspicious? Do you think that might accidentally expose the secret character that I'm making? So fine then. What else? What option is there to get through this? How can we really finish A Realm... And with that, A Realm Reborn is complete and Heavensward begins. This is my breakpoint. If I can get past Bismarck and unlock the Wondrous Tales, our sprint to the bare minimum is complete. From there, rather than a constant rush to complete as much of the MSQ as I can, it'll be weekly bursts of experience until Samurai is ready to clear Susano. And now, for all of A Realm Reborn, 2 days and 16 hours. Or 64 hours total. And as soon as Bismarck is done, I can finally start to relax. My desperate rush to clear as much as I can will very soon come to an end. As another attempt to show the justification for rules in solo, we grab some vendored level 60 gear from the Foundation and attempt to clear the Aerie without any effort, where it had previously required hours of grinding on Reaper. Though, it's not the best showing, because we couldn't. So the gear didn't really do anything. Instead, we unlock Reaper and clear at level 71. Shortly thereafter, we make use of Reaper again to clear Bismarck. Okay, that could have been one of the worst spots possible, but we are through. Goodbye, Bismarck. I am so very glad that I don't have to see you more than this. Bismarck is cleared. Now the real grind can begin. A 9-level difference for the most difficult fight in all of Heavensward. All because I could use quest gear instead of being forced to use gear from the expansion I'm in. I can do the rest of the questing later. For now, the most important thing is right here. Hello, Chloe. Wondrous Tales is unlocked, and now we begin the slow climb towards level 100. And what a terrible assortment we're going to have to unlock. Pushing as far into Heavensward as we can, we're blocked by the second coming of Nidhogg. Without the level of warrior Solo had, we don't have the healing necessary to clear this fight. Our progress comes to a halt, and Wondrous Tales becomes the new goal. And in the meantime, this gives me the chance to start leveling our crafters with the daily Grand Company turn-ins. A method I never needed to use for Solo, since I got so much use out of all the crafters, but a very fast way to catch up any class below level 50. For the actual goal of Solo Savior, clearing Hades, we'd need to make sure all of my crafters were leveled up to the point where they could handle any craft from Shadowbringers. So, I might as well get started now. The last thing we care about is silver certificates. I need 2 to be able to purchase a level 100 chest piece, a massive improvement over the gear Solo had access to, which will be integral for clearing Susano and Titania in the future. But it's all luck. It's around a 1 in 10 chance for a silver certificate, requiring us to get 2 lines on our bingo board with 9 stickers. 5% chance we shuffle. Hey, I'm taking that. This not only could this be a 2-line, I have a 47% chance for this to be a 2-line. I have a 3% chance for this to be 3 lines. If I get a 3-line on Solo Savior before I get it on actual Solo, I am going to scream. I'm going to be in such visceral pain that it will be unimaginable. This is one of the only times we've ever come close, so I'll briefly mention gold certificates. If we can somehow get lucky enough to get 3 lines, we'll be given the gift of 1 gold certificate. Silver certificates give level 100 gear from the previous update and require 2 per purchase. Gold certificates, on the other hand, only require 1 and give the best possible crafted chest piece from the current update. Not only would this be the strongest possible armor piece, it would be stronger than some actual endgame character's armor. Better gear than my main account can get. The chances of getting one are just so low that I've never even considered bringing it up. In all 8 or 9 years I've played Final Fantasy XIV, I have never once gotten a 3-line Wondrous Tales book. The first of many Wondrous Tales to hopefully get my samurai leveled and get me the 2 silver certificates that I need. And hopefully this is the first one. Well, it can't be a 3-line anymore. Please. Yes! Yes! Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. Okay. 1 out of 2. 1 out of 2. I need 1 more. That's the first silver certificate. Absolutely beautiful. And it wasn't long before our problems were solved. I have enough. I have enough that I could buy a level 100 gear piece. So I'll have a level 100 piece for Samurai for Susano. With the challenge logs done, we hit level 79, and after a bit of map exploration, level 80. From here, it'll take 15 weeks to get all the experience we need for Susano. But we're still stuck at Nidhogg, and now that we're level 80, we've got a chance to try again. A new upgrade was available, Pictomancer, the class that got us past Susano originally, and the strongest level of quest gear we'd ever have access to. But even Pictomancer falls to the Great Worm. We're not yet strong enough, but I'm in no rush. We still have 4 months before I'm ready for Susano. Life continued on. At this point, we were finishing our gear for the Hades attempts on Reaper for solo only, and I still believed I wouldn't need Savior until 5.3. And at around that time, another patch update dropped. I gotta do this quick. We gotta go fast. I immediately teleport over to Idyllshire. I go straight over to here to Chloe. I exchange silver certificates. Ornate ceremonial vest of striking for Samurai. Only costs 1 silver certificate, baby! I have to. I just have to. Now, my single level 100 chest piece is 2 level 100 chest pieces, 1 for a tank and 1 for samurai. I didn't know if I was ever going to use a tank all the way at level 100, but it was better to have spent both certificates now while I had the chance. I would like to collect my rewards, please. And as per usual, thank you for all of the leave quests. Level 91. The last time we'll ever be able to get 2 levels in a single day. Yesterday, I failed. Yesterday, I put myself up against Hades as Reaper. After months of prep, and I didn't even get halfway to the goal. I made it to phase 2, and I couldn't be prouder. But it hurts, knowing that I failed. Now this last resort of mine is coming too late. It is currently the 22nd of December, and Solo Savior won't be ready to get past Susano until the end of February. And then I have to do everything else after that. Titania, all of Stormblood, Shadowbringers, everything up to Hades. It is a long road ahead. Solo Savior will be finding his purpose a lot sooner than I expected him to. This is my final hope. I'll see you soon. The next major unlock was custom deliveries. I wasn't exactly doing my Grand Company turn-ins daily, which, bad of me, sure, but I had finally gotten a crafter to the point where I could unlock the biggest crafting and gathering experience drops in the game, as well as our main source of the crafting currency we'll need for gearing later. We were on a desperate time rush now. I needed to work through my crafters as quickly as I could, so once we reached Shadowbringers, I could make the high-quality armor I'd need to clear. And as a final send-off before the main grind, I take a break to get Solo Savior's New Year's fortune. Great fortune, baby! Okay! Yeah! A rare prize shall be thine. Give thanks to thy retainers. Okay, well, I don't have retainers, but it sounds good to me. Beyond repetition lieth truth, neglect not thy training. I will do my best. Good luck. Okay, I will happily take my great fortune for my Hades battle. Now I just have to get to the Hades battle. With Samurai at level 92, we can now spend our 10 silver chocobo feathers and get the level 90 poetic gear from Endwalker, which just so happens to be a big enough upgrade to deal with a little lizard problem I've been hearing about. And we can finally progress the MSQ. Okay. Before I do that though, I need to level Marauder. With Samurai planned to hit level 100, I wanted to make sure that once I was done Susano, Warrior was a high enough level to use for the MSQ. That way, we'd be feeding 2 birds with 1 suet, and keeping Warrior within a close enough range for the main scenario dungeons that if I ever needed it, it wouldn't be much work to catch it up. You know, I do a lot of this script writing while I look at the footage, so it feels particularly odd to me this time. I'm staring right now at almost 3 months of my life, from the end of December to late February. So many recordings, so many things I said, and none of them that matter enough for me to show. Using the last bits of the MSQ for the final boost of experience we needed, we've made it. 24 weeks from when I first started Solo Savior. We've hit level 100, and the final sprint can begin. Thank you, Chloe, for taking such good care of me. Level 100. We are finally at level 100. It's time to take down Susano. Now, we stood against one of the greatest adversaries the solo challenge had ever known. This wasn't some victory lap. This was where the struggle truly begins. I only knew that the Samurai Clear had been theorized by the other solos. I had no actual idea of how. I had never played Samurai prior to this character, knew nothing about its abilities and attacks, and now needed to know them on such an intimate level as to deal over 1 million damage in 14 seconds. No matter how I tried, Susano went no lower than 15% health. Fully geared with the best food and armor I could get, I failed over and over. At this rate, I'd need to abandon this, or expose the secret of Savior's existence to the other solos and ask for help. And then, I was struck with an epiphany. One of Samurai's most powerful attacks, Midare Setsugeka, requires you to collect 3 little stickers. You get them for completing your combos, which means it took way too much time to get a second Midare during the burst phase. You can also buff your Midare from 680 potency into Tendo Setsugeka, dealing 1100 potency. Almost double the damage. For this, you needed Meikyo Shisui, an ability that allows you to skip the combos and just complete the last attack in each of them. So, fine. I was already doing that, though. The last piece of the puzzle was Tsubame Gaishi, an ability that allows you to use Midare Setsugeka a second time immediately after using it. Again, something I used already, but we could twist this to our advantage. Tsubame Gaishi lasts for 30 seconds. If I used the empowered Tendo Setsugeka before our burst phase, held one under Tsubame Gaishi, and prepared an entire 2 more of them, we can sneak in an extra, instant 112,000 damage. That definitely kills. That's what I was missing this whole time. I was missing 1100, but I knew I was missing something. I knew I was doing something wrong. Okay, that's it. The theory was down. I had a way to win. Now I just needed to pull it off. Yes! That's it. Once again, Susano is cleared. And now we're on the final stretch to Hades. Now I just have the rest of Stormblood and Shadowbringers in front of us. But with this, Susano is completed, and we can start heading onwards to Hades. With Warrior properly leveled from our newly unlocked Heaven on High, there's no time to dawdle. Samurai's strength tears through everything in our path, and in just a single day, we've made it to Shadowbringers. Now, before anything else, we need gear. We'll be decenting the vendor gear, just like on solo, but that also requires a few leave quests to finish leveling first. Once that's done, with all the pittance we've earned through the MSQ gone, Samurai dons its final armor set, and we head on to Titania. When I was originally facing Titania on Warrior, Samurai was a class that had been proven possible by Zloe in the Discord, so I knew I'd be able to comfortably handle this fight without the need for a high-level warrior. Titania is done! The last wall is cleared. Hades is next. Or at least, he was supposed to be. But there was one wall I had not expected. The Crown of the Immaculate. Phase 1 of Innocence was able to kill even our fully geared and leveled warrior on solo only, and now, my hubris in assuming the rest would be nothing was catching up to me. We were absolutely slaughtered. 2 sets of adds, meteors, a vulnerability up, but so long as we could get Innocence below 40% health, he'd enter the phase transition and would drop his monstrous damage to almost nothing. Oh man. That was almost it. If I had just lived that Realm Razor, that would have been it. Okay, fine. I'd been right there. Barely a second away from victory when it was ripped from me. That run wasn't something I could replicate though. It was almost entirely luck. I had just done a lot of critical hits. So for me to clear this, I just needed to bash my head against the wall over and over until things finally fell into place. Though, right as I was about to succeed, please be enough health. Please be enough health. Please be enough health. I don't have enough health. Maybe. Yes! Okay. And now, even if I died, the first phase was finished. Phase 2 is nothing. So this time, we really are free to head on to Hades. And good night. Okay. That was very scary for a second. That was very, very, very scary. I really thought that was going to be a full stop and I'd have to swap Warrior in to handle it. Just barely. With Amarat completed, Solo Savior is caught up.
If you had the strength to take another step, could you do it? Could you save our worlds?
For all my planning, all the talk, all the struggle and time it took to get here, Our greatest challenge was yet before us. I now needed to handle attacking and dodging on 2 separate characters at the same time, all while pushing for the slimmest of margins to get our clear. With little to no room for error, I had to push myself further than ever before. But before any of that began, I had some final pieces to finish with Solo. Okay, it has been a long time since I have recorded something on Solo. I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time actually practicing first before I can do proper attempts where I'll use everything, but that doesn't mean I can be unprepared. I'm spending a silver certificate on level 100 casting gear. Ornate ceremonial tunic of casting. Yes. So now, Picto will be fully kitted out. I just need to take everything back out of this and meld it into Pictos. There were 2 reasons I chose to use Pictomancer on Solo. The first and most obvious is I had better gear for my Picto than any other class. The second was a bit more min-maxy. Final Fantasy XIV gives a hidden buff to parties depending on their composition. For every type of job you have in the party, you gain a hidden 1% DPS boost, up to a max of 5%. 1% for a tank, 1% for a healer, and 1% for each type of DPS, casters, melees, and physical ranged. Samurai covered melee, so having a Pictomancer gives us that hidden 1% boost. The worst part though is, while I know this function exists, it's not like I can actually confirm whether or not it works with an undersized party like how I'm doing. I just kinda have to hope. But either way, we'd get enough off the stronger gear that it's the only choice. The one problem Picto presents is its survivability, or lack thereof. I'd be relying entirely on Samurai to keep us alive until the later phases of the fight, and I'd need to pick and choose which attacks I could just take the damage from to maximize the damage I was doing. Locked in with my choice, I used the last of our spirit extract to make grade 4 tinctures of intelligence, and move on to the final step. Learning how to handle both jobs at the same time. In the end, I went with both games on one monitor and alt-tabbing between them. While it wasn't ideal, it got rid of the small bits of time lag with me having to look over at the other monitor and swap context. Whichever character I was just using would be exactly where I left them when I tabbed back in. Plus, if I ever couldn't handle the stress of managing both characters, I could focus on Samurai and use Pictomancer's Rainbow Drip, a nearly 4-second cast to keep up the damage. I set up a macro to follow a party member for both characters to help in avoiding faster mechanics, and the final thing to plan out was my opener. The opener combo is the most integral moment of burst and damage for every class in the game. A constant barrage of attack after attack to see the highest numbers possible. Everything in your kit is available and should be used. But I couldn't just do them one at a time. I needed to do them simultaneously, so I broke down each action and made a list. Each attack, when I should use them, what I should be doing the next time I alt-tabbed, down to the last second. Every detail was ready, and in the end, this should theoretically be enough to win. I had no proof, I just had hope. So now, in these final moments, as our ever-faithful companion duo bring Savior to meet us, and the 2 shards join each other for battle, I can really say we enter the dying gasp one more time. You know how this struggle goes, but I'll let you witness in real time what it actually looked like, and a gift from my partner to go along with it, just in case you wanted more proof. The fight starts with us waiting at the western side of the arena. It's a 50-50 on whether or not this dodges Echo of the Lost. If it doesn't, I failed the run, and we need to restart immediately. Echo of the Lost doesn't deal enough damage to kill us, but it gives us a vulnerability up if we do get hit by it, preventing the next stage. We are focused entirely on DPSing, so I need to try and math out which attacks I'm willing to take and what I can survive. Holy Daemon's Purgation is one that we can just tank. There's no need to move for this. But Hellborn Yop needs me to properly position both characters so only the Samurai takes the damage. And then both dodge the last Echo of the Lost. At this point, we're home free. I just need to burst. Please, 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 hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. Yes! Okay, that's it. Kill the boss, please, please kill the boss. Oh my god. Okay. 2 quick time events. Okay. Okay. Come on! Like I said before, once we enter the final phase, there's nothing left to fear. There was enough time to handle this on either of the classes by themselves, and our victory was all but claimed. I have bared my all. This is the true limit of what I can do. Even if I wanted to, Final Fantasy XIV won't allow you to run more than 2 clients on the same machine. So for every struggle, every pain point, this is our true last resort. So no, I won't be making 6 more accounts to deal with 5.3. Solo Savior is all we've got.
Farewell, Solo Savior. You really were my savior. Mayhaps I will see you again. In fact, I'm sure I will. But for now, our time together is done, and I can finally return to things as they should be.
But I still very much intend to get our clear. And soon, the last of the trials that have tormented me this whole journey will be before us. The Seat of Sacrifice is up next. Welcome to the final season of Solo Only.